American television sitcom Home Improvement aired on ABC for 8 seasons, from September 17, 1991 to May 25, 1999. The series was created by television producers and writers Matt Williams, David McFadden, and Carmen Finestra. But it really all started with Tim Allen, as it was based on his stand-up comedy material. Tim actually got into stand-up after getting locked up. He got busted for trying to sell $43,000 worth of cocaine to an undercover cop at the Kalamazoo Airport in Michigan in 1978. While awaiting his sentence, he took a job at a local sporting goods store. A coworker encouraged him to try his hand at stand-up comedy, so he did. Not only did he enjoy it, he was pretty good at it too. 9 months later, a judge sentenced him to 3 to 7 years for delivery of a controlled substance and conspiracy to deliver a controlled substance. However, he didn't let his stint at the Sandstone Correctional Institution in Minnesota stop him from further honing his stand-up skills. Whenever he got the chance, he'd do his routine to entertain the other inmates. After serving 28 months, Tim was paroled in 1982. He returned to Michigan with a completely new outlook on life. Since he was done making money by illegal means, he got a full-time job at a Detroit advertising agency and did stand-up on the side when he could. Word began to spread about his talent, and he slowly started selling out every venue where he performed. Then, executives at Showtime came calling. They offered him his own cable TV special called Men Are Pigs. It was all about garages and tools. The brass at Disney saw it and immediately knew they could turn him into their next sitcom star. Fun fact, when Tim first met with Disney executives, they offered to put him in TV versions of the 1989 films Turner and Hooch and Dead Poets Society, playing the roles of Tom Hanks and Robin Williams, respectively. When he passed, Disney searched for a producer to develop a sitcom based on his stand-up character instead. Matt Williams, the creator of Roseanne, was eventually hired for the job. Home Improvement centers on the Taylor family, which consists of Tim, played by Tim Allen, a former salesman for the fictional Binford Tool company, turned host of a fictional home improvement TV show called Tool Time, his wife Jill, played by Patricia Richardson, and their 3 sons, popular and athletic Brad, played by Zachery Ty Bryan, smart-mouth and wisecracking Randy, played by Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and sweet and innocent Mark, played by Taran Noah Smith, all living in suburban Detroit. In the summer of 1990, work got underway on the pilot script, and by early 1991, it was time to start casting the other roles. Fun fact, Home Improvement's original working title was Hammer Time. But the next thing everyone knew, rapper MC Hammer scored a hit with the song You Can't Touch This, which featured him uttering his catchphrase, "Stop, Hammer Time." So, with him unofficially owning the phrase Hammer Time in the public sphere, producers had to change the name. Frances Fisher was first to be cast, securing the role of Jill. Fun fact, Bonnie Hunt also auditioned to play Tim's wife. Next were the sons. 9-year-old Zachary nailed the role of oldest boy Brad. Even though he was also 9, Jonathan looked younger, so he was a good fit for the middle child, who was only 1 year apart in age from his older brother. Finding the perfect kid to play youngest brother Mark took a lot more time and effort, requiring a nationwide search. 6-year-old Taran, with a solid background in modeling and commercial work, aced his audition. Fun fact, Randy was actually older than Brad. On the show, Brad is the older brother to Randy and Mark, but Jonathan was actually the oldest of the 3, being born 1 month earlier than Zachary. The family also interacts quite a bit with their neighbor, Wilson. In early seasons, Wilson is always seen standing on the other side of Tim's backyard fence, with the lower half of his face hidden by the structure as the two engaged in conversation. Fun fact, an actor named John Bedford Lloyd, who tried out for another role on the show that wasn't completely worked out yet, was also told about the role of Wilson. After looking over it, he agreed to do it. But 1 week before shooting was set to begin, a call came in from his agent saying that his client wasn't going to do the show because of his face being partially hidden behind a fence, a factor that the actor was well aware of before accepting the role. Earl Hindman was happy to step in and take his place as Wilson. To assist Tim Taylor, as well as introduce him at the beginning of each episode of his show Tool Time, a Tool Time girl named Lisa was added. 23-year-old Pamela Anderson had already made a name for herself as the face of Labatt's Beer, as well as gracing the cover of Playboy magazine. Since she already had established herself as having the it factor, winning the role of Lisa was a piece of cake. Fun fact, initially producers sought out a 19-year-old Ashley Judd for the role, but her agent advised her to pursue movies instead of TV, so she passed on it. Now, with all the pieces in place, it was time to begin rehearsals. That's when producers became aware that some major changes needed to be made. Frances Fisher's delivery fell flat with the audience, so sadly she had to go, and was quickly replaced with Patricia Richardson. Also, just before the pilot was set to be filmed, producers decided to add in the role of Tim's sidekick, originally named Glenn. Fun fact, Stephen Tobolowsky was the first choice for the role, but he was already committed to a film project. The producers were okay with that though, telling him that they would just get a fill-in for the pilot, and then when or if the show got picked up, they'd put him in. The search for this fill-in eventually led to Richard Karn, and the character's name being changed to Al. Fun fact, a big part of the reason he got the role was because he got ticketed for rolling through a stop sign after a rehearsal for a play he was doing in Los Angeles. He was sent to traffic school as a result, where he met an agent who told him about Home Improvement. Richard realized he knew enough people involved with the show to at least secure an audition. The temporary job became permanent after he got a call from producers to do one more episode, followed by one more episode, and so on until it was clear that even though the other guy wasn't able to be on set due to another gig, Richard's chemistry with Tim was a winning combo. Then, just before Home Improvement launched, reporters started digging into Tim's past. He caught wind of it and gave the producers a heads up. Tim, the producers, and the network all agreed that it would be best if Tim outed himself and came clean about everything, which he did. That was that, and the show went on. While critics weren't the show's biggest fans, at the completion of its debut season, Home Improvement finished in 4th place in the ratings, in a tie with Cheers. But for whatever reason, execs still decided to move it from Tuesdays to Wednesdays, putting it right up against NBC's Seinfeld. Fun fact, that move caused the struggling Seinfeld to get kicked off Wednesday nights, since Home Improvement ended up bringing in bigger numbers. Seinfeld would be fine though, gaining a lot more success after moving to Thursday nights. After 2 seasons playing Tim's tool girl, Pamela Anderson decided to leave the show to focus on her role on the NBC action drama series Baywatch that she was doing simultaneously when it became clear that her character wasn't going to evolve the way she wanted her to. Heidi Keppert, played by Debbie Dunning, came in as the new Tool Time girl for the following 3rd season. Fun fact, Debbie had previously appeared in a season 2 episode where she played an obsessive Tool Time fan named Kiki. Home Improvement was now delivering top 10 ratings week after week. The show was number 2 in the ratings during the 1993-94 season. The same year, Tim had a number 1 book and number 1 film out. Besides Tim, the other actors on the show also began to stand out to fans as well, especially Jonathan Taylor Thomas, eventually becoming quite the teen heartthrob, his face often appearing on the cover of magazines like Bop, as well as countless bedroom posters. Fun fact, an appearance on Home Improvement helped Dave Chappelle secure his own sitcom. In a 1995 episode, Tim asked if anyone in the studio audience had, like him, been tricked into a fight with their significant other. 2 guys named Dave and Jim could relate, and Tim pulled them up on stage. As Dave Chappelle lit up the screen, so impressing ABC executives that they commissioned a show about Dave and Jim, played by Jim Breuer, called Buddies. It debuted the following year with some changes, notably Jim Breuer being replaced by Christopher Garten as John. Unfortunately, only 5 episodes of Buddies aired before it was canceled. Things behind the scenes of Home Improvement involving the powers that be then took an unexpected turn in 1997. Producers had clashed with execs at Disney, which also owned ABC. Wind Dancer Production Group, the firm headed by producer Matt Williams, which created and produced Home Improvement, contended in a lawsuit that production partner Walt Disney Television wasn't representing its interests because ABC and Disney are part of the same parent company. The complaint accused Disney of orchestrating a sweetheart deal between Disney Television and ABC. Because the show had passed what's known as its option year, the studio was free to negotiate with other potential buyers. Wind Dancer, however, maintains Disney had no intention of selling the show to any network but ABC, thus preventing the series from receiving its full value. Accusing Disney of breach of contract, Wind Dancer was seeking damages and to urge Disney from finalizing an agreement, asking that the studio be directed to negotiate in good faith and at arm's length with ABC. Not surprisingly, Disney denied any interference and claimed the deal with producers was one of the richest in television history. They later reached a settlement with the specific details not made public. At the start of the 7th season, it was time for Tim to renew his contract. He ended up receiving a raise to $1.25 million per episode. And just like that, he became the highest paid actor on TV. While that was great for him, everyone else was frustrated over not only their pay, but the storylines as well. 16-year-old Jonathan Taylor Thomas decided to do something about his desire to focus on his education and leave the show. On screen, this was handled by his character Randy leaving for an environmental study program in Costa Rica in the show's 8th and final season. Everyone was apparently fine with his decision, except Tim. When Tim found out that after Jonathan left, he didn't go right to school, but rather to do a movie, he didn't hesitate to express his annoyance when producers brought Jonathan back to do a guest spot. Tim told reporters that he was unhappy with some of Jonathan's decisions. Later, he would claim that he loved Jonathan so much and really wanted him on the show, but since things didn't go the way that he wanted them to, he said some things he didn't mean. He chalked up his behavior to the fact that he just really missed Jonathan. In the middle of the 8th season, several cast members were on the fence about doing another season of Home Improvement. The show was also still making the network a lot of money. Patricia was offered $25 million to do a 9th season. Tim was offered a whopping $50 million. They declined their offers, and the series came to an end as a result. The series finale became one of the highest rated series finale television program of the 90s and overall series finale ever presented on a single network in television history. Jonathan Taylor Thomas did not return to the show for the series finale, only appearing in archived footage. Fun fact, throughout the show, Tim Taylor would often wear sweatshirts or t-shirts from various Michigan-based colleges and universities that were usually sent by the schools. Because Tim considered Michigan his home state, the rule was that only Michigan schools would get the free advertising, barring 2 notable exceptions in 2 separate episodes, where he wore a South Carolina college sweatshirt and an Ohio college sweatshirt. In the United States, Home Improvement began airing in broadcast syndication in 1995 and continued until 2007. On December 29, 2003, Earl Hindman passed away of lung cancer in Stamford, Connecticut. He was 61 years old. Buena Vista Home Entertainment has released all 8 seasons on DVD in North America, South America, the Caribbean, and Europe. In 2011, Walt Disney Studios released a complete series box set entitled Home Improvement, 20th Anniversary Complete Collection on DVD in North America only. More than a decade after Home Improvement went off the air, yet another lawsuit was filed by the producers, similar to the one in the 90s. In 2013, Wind Dancer Production Group complained about the amount of profits they received from the show by suing ABC parent Disney for breach of contract, saying the company sold syndication rights to the show at well below market value, limiting the pool of profits the producers could collect. For example, Wind Dancer alleged Disney offered syndication rights in New York, a key market, for no monetary consideration, and failed and refused to consult with the creators about how the show would be exploited. 6 years later, the sides finally reached a settlement in the case. Terms of the deal have not been disclosed. In December 2023, Disney inked a deal with Netflix to share 14 of its popular shows over the next 2 years, Home Improvement being one of them. The show arrives on Netflix on February 1st, 2025. During that time, it will still be available to stream on Hulu.